Okay, so when your cabin kit arrives, it's best not to undo it straight away. Wait until you're ready to build, and that way you won't lose little bits and pieces all over the place. So here we go. First thing you want to do is unwrap your new cabin. The cabin kit we're going to build today is called the Summer Special. It's 5 metres by 4 metres, almost 20 square metres, with a little deck on it. Now, once we open the pack, the end of the pack, the main pieces we're looking for to start with are our joists. On your plans, it'll be called an IAR 1, 2, 3, 4 or 5, depending on how big your cabin kit is. So we've got to get to those. So we're going to restack these down towards where we're putting our cabin kit in, pulling out these IARs, and then we're going to put them together. Okay, once you've got your pack out, really important, you look for the screws, door handles, hinges and fittings. Now it's important you don't lose bits of these, so what I like to do is put them in a box. It saves you problems later on. Now, then we have the plan. This is your Bible, the most important thing you need. And we're going to start today with the foundation and putting the foundation together. So we open up to the second page of the plan, we go to the foundation plan, and the foundation pieces are labelled IAR 1s, IAR 2s, etc. And if we go to the back of the plan, we'll actually be able to see in detail the foundation pieces named IAR 1, 2, 3, and then we put them together accordingly. So let's follow our plan and let's go put a base together. So this is where we're going to build our cabin today. And now, everybody's situation is different. Some are using steel posts, some are using timber posts. Some cabins can be put on a slab, but if you have a slight bit of slope, yet best to use posts. Because at one side you might only be 300 mil above the ground, the other side you might be a lot higher. In this case, we've cleared our site, made it nice and clean and safe. It's a great area to start. So looking at our foundation plan, we can see IAR 1 and IAR 2s marked. Your outsides are your IAR 1s and each of these are IAR 2s. Bigger cabins have more figures, but this one's a nice simple one to start with. All of our cabins work out the same. Doesn't matter how big or how small, you follow the same system, you can't go wrong. What we're going to do is put together the IAR 1s together, and then we'll be able to mark out exactly evenly where our other joists are going to sit. In this case we've got a marking here of 62.6. That's the spacing between here and here. So let's go and put those IAR 1s together. Okay, we're up to the fun part. We need the 100mm screws out of the cabin pack and a screw gun. Or you can use a normal cheap drill from Bunnings. Any $30 Azeto drill with forward and reverse will work just as well. Now all of our kit screws are star drives, so you'll need a set of star drive heads for your screwdriver. So once we have all our ARO ones put together in place, we screw them together like this. So you want to get this corner together first, making sure that this edge is flush and that edge is flush. Hold our edges together. Screw it in nice and tight and you'll see it's nice and flush. Off to the next corner. Okay, so now we're going to put the secondary piece together. Remember, that's the level your floor will be lighting on, and it's a really good thing to get one of these F-clamps. These F-clamps, you can use them for so many things in a job like this. So in this case I'm using it to hold these two pieces together, hold them nice and flush, makes it easier for me to screw together. If it doesn't go flush the first time, you can put another hole in and use your F-clamp to try and get that nice and neat and even. We repeat the whole process throughout the whole cabin base and screw it all together. So get that part done. In a minute we'll come back once you're finished and I'll show you how to raise it up and get it all level. So looking at the plan, we've got our two IAR 2s at the front of the cabin here. We've got the piece that the flooring rests on
and this is the piece the actual cabin kit sits on. And we start our measurement from 70 mil from the front to there, which will line up in the middle of that beam. So when we're marking out our IAR1s, which are the outside pieces, which we've now put together with the cramp, holding them in place nice and flush, mark 70 mil, we now measure 62.6 and we mark as we go. Okay, so sometimes, timber being what timber is, it may not sit perfectly straight, where you want this nice and neat and nice and straight. So we've used another F-clamp here to put some lean on it. It allows you to straighten up your timber, and then it'll make it so much easier to screw that together. Just like that.
Well, we have our base kit together, and what we need to do now is make sure it's square. This is simply done by measuring from corner to corner and making sure your measurement is exactly the same. If it's not, you have to move the base a little bit either way. So let's measure it.
That says 62.5.
From the other direction, we have 62.10. So a little kick. 62.08. Now when we measure it from the other angle, it should be 62.08. Perfect, 62.08. From here, we want to put some timbers down. We're just going to screw 2 timbers off in the corner just to hold it square, so when we move our frame around it won't go out of square and it'll stay perfect. So now that the base frame is square, I'm going to get any old piece of timber. This one I just took off the top of the packing crate, and we just put a few screws into it. 3 is enough, just to make sure the frame doesn't move out of square. Now, we can move a frame around to wherever we want it. Right, we're up to the next stage of our construction process, and that is working out where our holes are going to go for our posts. This cabin's quite simple. It's 4.8 metres wide. We've got 4 bearers going through, 1 on either side and 2 in the middle. When you divide 4.8 by 3 equal spaces, you get 16.13 as your measurement, and you measure from your side to here, mark 16.13. I like to mark the holes using a bit of spray paint. You can buy this from Bunnings for about $6 a can. It's water based, washes out very easily, and you simply mark your corners. Don't worry if it gets on the timber, because you're probably going to paint over it anyway. Come back and mark your other spot. Make sure you put a good mark so you can see exactly where your post is going to go. Your post will go directly in that spot there. Don't worry if you get it a little bit off centre, your holes will be that big. Plenty of room. You make your holes about 300mm wide, so that'll give you enough room to move your post around in the middle of the hole. We'll show you that as we go. Once you've got your base laid out and all your points marked, so you know exactly where your posts go, then comes the fun bit.
that's where we've got to dig holes. So you pick up your base, you can move it out of the way, sit it over there is probably the best way to do it. Come in, dig your holes with a shovel or your auger. Hopefully you can find a few mates to help you. Looks like I'm doing it myself.
One of the big questions we get asked at Cabin Life is how deep the holes should be. As a rule of thumb, on a normal, regular sized small cabin under 20 square metres, we would make the hole 500mm deep, and we hang the post 450mm in the hole, and we put some concrete underneath the post to stop it from falling down. Now, if you've got a really soft soil, you will want to take it deeper, or if you've got some fill, you want to go down until you find some hard soil. In this example, I started digging the hole, and we can see this ground is quite rocky. There's lots of small rocks. But now I'm getting down to some really hard stuff to dig through. So it's going to take me a little while to get through that, and this is the worst part of this job. The rest is pretty easy. But digging through this, we know that we've got a solid foundation. If you're in sand, sand's a lot easier to dig. The measurement is the same. You just go 500mm down in your hole, have your post 450mm up. If you're doing a bigger cabin, follow your engineering. Your engineering will define whether you have an S, M or P class soil or even a H class soil. And it'll tell you exactly how big the hole has to be as depth and round. We're making our holes round, 300mm round, because we use 125mm treated pine poles. These come with every kit. You can get steel posts if you like. And we either use 125 or 150. Anything smaller won't pass engineering. Here comes the fun part. Okay. Once you've got your holes dug, 500mm deep and 300mm round, then bring your base frame back over to the top of the holes, sit them on top of the holes, and just line your base frame up so it sits nice and neatly exactly where it was before. Once you've done that, comes the fun part. We're about to raise the cabin to the height you want it to be raised to. A couple of ways we can do this. One is you can put all your posts in first, come around later and cut them off. We've got a little sneaky way that I think you'll like. It'll make things a lot easier for you. Using a simple star picker, pull up against the cabin, hammer it down not too far so that the holes are on the side, because what you're going to do is lift this up in a minute and screw into the side of this so the whole cabin is raised up above the ground. Once I've done that, we'll show you then how to get it all perfectly level. Once we have a few star pickets around, what we're going to do is lift the cabin kit up and screw it off using any old screw that you've got. A roofing screw is what we use, but anything you've got will do it. And you'll need two people for this, one at either end. Lift cabin kit up and screw your screw into it to hold it up in place. And we'll go around to the back and do the same thing. Okay, so what you want to do is adjust the height of your cabin averagely at the moment. We're going to work on getting exactly perfectly level in just a moment. You see here I've made the bottom of my base 300mm off the ground. Of course our land slopes downwards here, which means over the back corner it's going to be quite a bit higher. One of the most simplest ways to get a level is by using a piece of clear plastic hose. This is the simplest, oldest method in the world. $10 from Bunnings, get 10 metres long, so you can get from one end of one corner of the cabin to the other, and fill it up with water, making sure there's no water bubbles in the line. Once you're sure there's no water bubbles,
you hold the two ends together, keep your thumbs over the end until they get level. You can go like this, and you see the two water lines will adjust to perfectly level. No matter where you take that, you can take that to the back corner of the cabin and this on the front corner of the cabin, and they will give you a level height. So we're going to show you now how to do this. So what we need to do is get that level line of water and line with the top of our joist. Once we've got it level at one end, we need to make the other end level. So we're going to go now, put a mark on our star picket over there and see where level's at. Ready. So we've got the other end held at level. On the other end, the water level is showing that that's level. Here we can see we need to bring this down to that level. And we do this by merely tapping down the star picket until we get to that height. You ready? Okay, so we're going to tap the star picket down. I'm going to check the height again. You can see the bubble going up and down quite quickly. We can use our thumb to slow that flow down. And we're now in line with the water bubble, which means this front of the cabin is all perfectly in line. Now we're going to go around the whole cabin base and we're going to check each one, and then we're going to come back and check these in case they've moved, just to make sure we get it perfectly level and perfectly square. Once you've got your base all level and square, set up on your star pickets, bring your bearers timber that's supplied with the cabin. These are all 140 by 45 H3 treated pine bearers. Rest them underneath your cabin. Pre-drill some holes in here along the top, 1 metre apart. Lift your bearer up to the base of the cabin. Make sure it's flush. And screw it down into place. If you're working by yourself or you want to make life easier, bring out the clamp again. Tighten it up and then screw your bearer into place. All Cabin Life timber cabins get provided with these in the kit. This is a 125mm round treated pine pole, H4 treated for termites. And we always use 125mm or 150mm treated pine poles. 125mm is the usual one we use. It's pretty much the minimum that is allowed for engineering to get up to an N3 or a C2 wind rating. Now we can cut into the top of this and attach our bearer onto the side of it and screw through. Gives you a nice solid foundation. Or we have these beautiful post caps. Now that's a 125mm post cap that sits over the top, and the idea is your bearer will sit on there, you screw your bearer in, and this is to stop termites. Termites will always travel up and they'll make a nest, and they'll make a nest under here, and this is to slow that down. By using a simple batten screw, screw through the holes already organised on your post cap. Like so, and then you can attach your bearer to that. But we're using metal posts and we'll show you that process very shortly. On this cabin kit we're using steel posts. We've got these U-Butte steel caps from cabinlife.com.au, and we've got the 3mm, 75mm square, 3mm thick steel post. Put that guy on top. We've got perfect little self-tapping screws. We screw 2 on each side.
like so. And that gives you a nice solid steel post. Now with our steel post, when we put it into the ground, into the concrete, we want to put it down so it's sitting about 50mm above the ground. That way a little bit of concrete can sit underneath and make a solid pad. Now, you can either put a piece of Rio right across here or a plate on the bottom of here to stop it lifting out of the ground should a cyclone come through, or you can use the humble roofing screw and put a few of those into the bottom of the post, allowing it to stick out a bit. And the idea is that it'll stop the post from lifting out of the concrete should a cyclone come through. Once you've got both your outside bearers lifted up underneath the joist, it's time to do the middle ones. We've set the middle ones in place using your F-clamps to hold them in place. It's very important that you now get this line straight. Using a string line, going from one end to the other, put your string line on here, then lift your bearer up, tighten it off, making sure it's in line with the string line and the bearer is coming out flush with the back of your joist. Keep your clamps in place and screw it down nice and firm. Now, concrete isn't supplied with the kit, basically because everybody's cabins are different and your engineering is different. Some you might have S-class soil or M-class soil, which is averagely a hole at 500mm deep. You might have a P-class soil, which means your hole is going to be deeper at 800mm deep, or a H-class soil. Now, H is highly reactive, so being highly reactive, the council will say, yep, you need to do your holes at 12 to 1500mm deep, which is a lot of concrete. And that might, on a cabin this size, that might come to another $400 or $500 worth of concrete. So that's why we don't include concrete with the cabins. But if our guys are building it and putting it up for you, the concrete is included on an S or M class soil, and we'll let you know if your soil type comes in higher, exactly how much we think that'll work out to be. So this whole process, to get it up to this stage, it should take you about a day. You and your sidekick, a day to get finished up to the base stage, and tomorrow we're going to get on to the next level and we're getting to the fun bit. Alright, so we check our post is level both ways. Once you're happy that it's level, put some more concrete in and fill the hole up. Now your post might move when you put the concrete in, so you just want to check it again. And it's good to make the mix a little bit runny so it all gets right in underneath your post and gets to set. Once the holes are filled, leave it overnight to set, and tomorrow you'll be ready to come back in and start doing the first layer.